Hey everybody, it's Harry from Step Daddy BBQ, the YouTube channel that teaches you how to master barbecue so you can spread barbecue love. If you love lobsters, you come to the right episode. I'll be cooking 2 lobsters today, sent to me by the nice folks at lobsteranywhere.com in Boston. And I'll be doing a lobster and grits together with a lobster dynamite recipe in this episode featuring 2 lobsters from Boston. Prepare the lobster for grilling by making a cut on the back of the lobster shell like so. We're gonna ease the lobster out onto the shell so it sits kind of piggyback on the shell. That way you can grill it without getting any of it burnt. We make a cut right down the back of the lobster shell. Pair of scissors, and we want to run our fingers into the meat to separate the meat from the shell. You can use a knife if that's very helpful. Just carefully push away the meat from the shell and you'll be fine. Be very careful when you do this. Try not to damage the lobster meat. Just be very gentle. Eventually you'll be able to work the meat away from the shell. And you want to lift it up, ease it out, fold the lobster back and put the meat piggyback like that. We're going to grill it with the lobster on top, piggyback style. If you see any of the digestive tract in the lobster, you can go ahead and rinse out any of the gunk in the sink. Let's brush a little bit of butter onto the lobster before we apply some rub. I'm going to use my First Place USA chicken rub. Goes well with seafood. Just a little bit more, dripping some butter. And you want to do this about around 350 degrees with your pit. Get the lobster just perfectly cooked. The dynamite sauce is really easy to make. We have some mayo. I'm using some Japanese Kewpie mayo. You can use Best Foods mayo. Maybe about a 1/4 cup of mayo. A couple of squirts of sriracha, or as much as little as you like. I'm gonna add a little bit of fish roe, and you can get this from an Asian market. I'm gonna use the tobiko red today, 1 heaping tablespoon or so. I have some ikura, which is salmon caviar. We're going to use that for the topping for the lobster. Let's mix the dynamite sauce that we're going to put on top of the lobster. Brush with some butter. Let's make some grits. I have some regular grits here, cooked in some water. We're going to add a little bit of half and half, make it a little richer. A couple of pats of butter. About a 1/2 cup of cheese. Make it a cheesy grits here. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Shut off the fire, let it cool down, and our grits are ready. The gravy starts with making a roux. Put a couple of tablespoons of butter. A roux is nothing more than a mixture of cooking flour with some oil. You can use olive oil, canola oil. I'm just using butter here. The ratio for a roux, which is the thickener for gravy, is about 1:1. So I'm going to use about the same amount of flour here to butter. And we're going to cook this down under gentle heat until it turns into a light brown color. You can make roux, which is kind of a white roux, and then you add milk, you get bechamel sauce. And if you cook it darker till it's kind of medium brown, that's how it's done to make jambalaya, to make things like gumbo. I'm just gonna cook it until it's kind of light brown and add a little bit of chicken stock to make a brown gravy. I'm gonna use this to make our lobster and grits. Takes a few minutes for you to stir. You got to be really careful. Don't run the heat too hot. You want to keep stirring it and whisking it so that the roux will not burn. If it burns, then you have to start over, unfortunately. After a couple of minutes, it turns into a brown color. This is about the right color I want here. I'm going to add a little bit of chicken stock now to make the gravy. Make sure you whisk it so that the gravy is not lumpy, only nice and smooth, so that the thickness will coat the back of a spoon. The test here. And that's about right. Add a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt from my barbecue rub. I'm going to use my all-purpose rub here. And the secret ingredient is you add a little bit of nutmeg for a floral note. You're not going to taste the nutmeg, but it gives it a nice fragrance to the gravy. Gravy's done. All right, let's have the lobster. Feels about right. It's about 145. I don't want to overcook the lobster. That's perfect. Let's stop here. Show you guys how to sear the lobster now using a grill gun. On the lobster and grits, I have some chopped garlic, a little bit of green onions. I'm going to squeeze some lemon on it, butter, some of the melted butter. We're going to pour it in here, brush it on top, and use our grill gun on it. So we have a little bit of a garlic, lemon, butter on this lobster here. On the other lobster, we have our mayo, sriracha, and our fish roll. And I'm going to put the Dynamite sauce on top. Spread it out like a peanut butter. It's always good to put a piece of foil underneath your pit. So this is going to make one hell of a mess. So you can hear the fish eggs popping. It's fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and give it a char. Let's go ahead and fire up our grill gun here. So thanks to lobsteranywhere.com, I get a chance to try my hand at cooking some fancy schmancy dishes for special occasion. This would not look out of place for a New Year party or a special dinner with the loved ones, and even for Valentine's Day. Let me try this one, which is the lobster grits and gravy. And lobster and grits should be a wonderful addition. I have a couple of pieces of lobster here. I'm going to dip it into the gravy and the grits and the bacon with the lemon juice, and it's going to be a wonderful one bite wonder. Looks like that. Here you go. All right, give it a taste test here. The combination of the grits, the cheesy grits, with the tasty roux gravy, with the bacon, lemon juice, green onions, and the lobster meat, absolutely incredible. It is so good. I just need to have another second bite here. Really delish. Really a kind of a really high-end way of doing the traditional shrimp and grits dish, but this time it's lobster and grits. Lobster is absolutely amazing, super fresh, and cooks perfectly. Took about 20 minutes to cook the lobsters. Let me try it now. This one, which is the Dynamite sauce, grilled lobster with butter, and I have a little bit of a salmon caviar on top there. If you don't like any kind of fish eggs stuff, don't skip this part. Just use the mayo and sriracha by itself. That Dynamite sauce, once you kind of flame it on top, it has a caramelized coating on it, and it's absolutely delicious. I'm gonna take a bite now of this one here, which is the salmon roll, the tobiko roll, the Japanese mayo with some sriracha. I love how the caviar, the briny bits of the roll kind of burst in your mouth, and it's an absolutely fantastic mouthfeel and texture. That hint from the sriracha, coupled with the creaminess of the mayo, and then that char on it at the end, putting it all together, you get a little bit of a charred mayo flavor, and the little morsels of the caviar that burst in your mouth. Absolutely a phenomenal bite. Great dish here. I'm gonna take a second bite here. Wow, absolutely amazing. Great lobsters from lobsteranywhere.com. If you guys are hankering to try some lobster, can't find that in your local area, give them a call. They're online. Go to lobsteranywhere.com, order from them, tell them that you saw my recipe cooking the lobster on my YouTube channel. So enough of me talking now. Let's see, Mr. Beans, you want to try some lobster? You think dogs eat seafood? I don't know. I'll give him a small piece and see if he might enjoy these lobsters from lobsteranywhere.com. Right, Beans? He's looking at me now. I'm not sure if dogs can eat lobster, but I'm going to take a chance anyway. So I gave him a little bit of the lobster with caviar with the Dynamite sauce, and a little bit of my lobster and grits with bacon, grits, and gravy. Let's see if he likes it. Beans, you like it? I know this is not brisket, but you always get brisket from me. So we'll try a little bit of lobster, so hopefully you'll be okay. We don't develop any allergies to lobster, please, okay? All right, Beans, go. All right, he's going for the lobster. He went for the lobster and grits first. Took a bite of now the Dynamite lobster with the caviar, salmon, eggs, caviar. And what does he think? Beans, what do you think? I know this is not regular barbecue. Oh, he's going back to lick the plate, so that's a good sign. When he goes back and licks the plate, that means he's enjoying his little tasty snack here. Done? Okay. Okay, not a huge response, but at least he ate it pretty clean. So there you go. I think he likes it. Thanks for stopping by, watching my episode on how to cook lobster. Huge thanks to lobsteranywhere.com for sending me these lobsters to cook. I want to share a moment to tell you guys that, thanks for helping me support my channel. All my patrons and YouTube viewers, you guys help me make my channel what it is today. I love talking to you guys, answering your questions. And for those of you who decided to sponsor me through patreon.com, I want to extend my huge thanks to you all. 2020 has been a really crazy year. Hoping 2021 will be much more calm. We can go back to life as normal. The vaccine is going to be available to most of us sometime next year. So hopefully all this madness with the pandemic calms down. I can go back to life as normal. You can go back to life as normal. I'll be able to start my classes again in my backyard. So really looking forward to some normal way of living in 2021. I also wanted to share a moment to tell you guys that we should show a little bit more kindness to each other. It's been a crazy year, and I know that like me and you, we have all been isolated emotionally and physically from a lot of co-workers and school and friends, family. So I want to do a shout out to all of you to say I love you very much. Thanks for watching my videos. I know that using these videos is a way for me to kind of reach out to you, to emotionally connect with 150,000 of you around the world. For that, I am blessed and I am grateful. Until the next time, I love you.